For this video, we'll be taking a look at the Gundam Barbatos from Iron-Blooded Orphans. Okay, let's take a look at this model kit. We got here, it is a high grade. It's part of the Iron-Blooded Orphans model set. This is in fact the very first of the model set. And as you can see, it's got some nice cover art of the Barbatos in action with his mace. This is the original form that we see in the anime. On the side, we've got some action poses. He also has a sword, not just the big mace. And he has some pretty neat articulation, especially in the feet. That's a little bit different than other models. And here on the side, we've got a little bit more photos, the pilot, and stuff like that. And then in here, we've got the manual. It's all in Japanese. This is an earlier model. This was done in 2015. So they hadn't started doing the English version of the Japanese text at that time. But if we look in here, we can see that we've got several runners, and then it has the instructions to go right through, like you would any other one, where you got the body, head, the arms, the torsos, and such. And then you have some color pictures of the weapons and the whole thing going together. And there are quite a few color correcting stickers in this one. I was looking closer at where exactly these apply, and there appears to be multiple places where you have a dark piece where you put the white stickers on, and you have white pieces where you put the dark stickers on. So I'm not sure, and it's not the entire piece, it's just sections of it. So it's a little bit strange. But I guess that's the way they had to mold it because of the two-tone, if you notice here, there's some tonal differences, especially in the hip skirts and such like that, where you have multiple colors, and they did these as one piece instead of separate pieces. So whether I'm going to use these or do the painting when I put the thing together, I haven't quite decided yet. But I'll think about either way and see what would be better. Because normally, for color correction stickers, the only things I really don't mind using, especially like in the eyes, because normally there's like a clear cover, or it's just part of the face, and they don't show. You don't see the seams. I'm sorry, the edges and stuff like that. Whereas these, they might show pretty badly when put together as the fact that they are true stickers. So, but let's go ahead and take a look at the runners. So we have the A1, which it looks like this piece is predominantly going to be this kind of almost black, very dark gray and white, with a few other colors mixed in there, like red, yellow, and blue. So the A runners, we've got an A1 and an A2. And these are the darker pieces. A lot of these are almost like inner frame pieces. And then, of course, the mace. It's not a true inner frame, but it looks like they've done more of an inner frame style with this, the Barbatos figure. I'm not sure if that's something that's carried throughout the Iron-Blooded Orphans line or not. And then it seems like the white pieces are more the armor around the frame. So you've got, your leg armor and stuff like that. And these are the places where a lot of the color correction stickers are used to make areas of the white pieces black. But it looks like I might be able to just get away with, painting entire sections, to make it look better. So this is our B runner. And then we have smaller ones for our colors. So we have some yellow pieces, which, are vents and the spikes on the head and other such places that are fairly typical of a Gundam. We've got the red D pieces, which looks like these are feet mostly, and blue, which looks like it's going to be in the torso and maybe a little bit on the foot as well. And then we've got our polycaps here that do the articulation points, just like any other HG normally relies heavily on polycaps to do the articulation points. So it looks like a pretty standard set of polycaps. The nice thing about this model is there is no ABS plastic on any of the runners, so you don't have to worry about what type of paints that you use, because certain paints and panel liners and stuff like that will eat ABS plastic. So what you've got here is you've got your standard mobile suit where you've got some accessories, which right here is the Barbatos mace and a katana-like sword as well, which clips on into the backpack when not in use. I say katana-like because it's not quite a katana. There's a number of angular pieces that would, make it non-katana, but I think they were trying to go for a katana feel with it. Overall, I do like the aesthetic of the Iron-Blooded Orphans mobile suits. They really made an effort to make them different and unique, especially, if anyone who's seen the anime, you can tell that they are just much more natural looking almost, not so much boxy like many of the other ones are. The reason being is that instead of having a inner frame whose only purpose is to attach armor to, like many of the other series, whether they be manga or anime, then what they've done with the Iron-Blooded Orphans ones is they've made the inner frame be a major part of the aesthetic look of the mobile suits themselves, which give them some very unique, silhouettes and forms and such like that. Let me go ahead and I'm just going to take off the hands here so I can get everything out of the way. Oops. One thing that does happen is at times you're going to have pieces, if you're going to manipulate it a lot, you are going to have pieces fall off. It's just the way it is, because what's happening is that it is a combination of polycaps, but they've also done some plastic on plastic ball joints. And sometimes it's the plastic on plastic ones that kind of come apart when you don't expect it, or sometimes the plastic on plastic part might have a polycap buried in the structure to kind of do some of the movement, and that might come apart. Places where I've noticed that it happens quite a bit is the shoulders and the waist. The waist is a typical, is a plastic on plastic, but because of the way that they did the actual joint itself, instead of it just being a single ball joint, which is right there in there, you put the ball joints in there, but then it gets attached by a peg. So you don't have the entire ball joint keeping it together, just a little tiny peg. And that comes apart from time to time as you're manipulating it. But it's not a huge deal. It's not like you're going to lose pieces or anything like that. It's just a little bit annoying. Now, this is slightly more than just straight out of the box. I didn't do any modifications to the actual plastic or anything like that. But what I did do is I did do panel lining. As you can see some places here, like you've got here and here and up here. So for the white pieces, I used a gray panel liner just to kind of highlight places that were indented. For the non-white pieces, I used black instead, like up here on the traditional V, which I'm assuming is the antennas for it, and the chest piece and stuff like that. And the other thing I did is there were a number of color correcting stickers, which is pretty common for HG sets. So instead of using the color correcting stickers, what I actually did is I painted the areas the color correcting stickers were to be applied. instead of using the stickers, because the stickers just, to me, just don't look right. So what I did is I just, painted the same color the stickers would be. So that would be places like here in the highlighted areas, these glow. And this is kind of like a Barbatos pink. I did it also here where this is a complete white piece, and then part of it had to be black with some silvering around it. And then I had another part which it was a complete black piece which needed white on it. That was a little bit more difficult because it's more difficult to paint a light color on a dark piece than it is a dark color on a light piece. But it just took several coats. But that's essentially all I did. The only place that I actually did use the stickers themselves is like on the head where you've got the eyes, because you got that metallic look to them, and I just didn't have the paint that made it look right. And then this one doesn't have, looks like this one doesn't have any camera lenses, but if there were camera lenses, then I would use the stickers for the camera lenses and such. So the articulation on here is pretty standard for an HG kit. The legs themselves go up at a 90 degrees pretty much, because the front skirts come up, things like that. The knee itself goes at a 180 degrees back because it has the double joint. Now with this kit, they hadn't switched over to the same type of joint that they use in the knee for the elbow, so the elbow's only at a 90 degree. And one of the nice things is that the shoulder armor itself can move out of the way, so that gives you a lot more flexibility as far as how far you can move the arm up and stuff like that. The waist is essentially just that ball joint back and forth. There's a little bit of movement here where it attaches at the top, where the waist attaches to the body itself, but not a lot. The head has typical movement of a ball joint going back and forth, and forward and, left to right, forward and back. It doesn't have the sliding bit that happens on some of them. But that's okay. I mean, you can pretty much move the head to where you want with just the ball joint and the turning and stuff like that. The front skirts move out of the way, the side skirts move out of the way, but the back skirts are permanent. You can't move those. The feet are nice because it's got a split foot architecture here. Now the heel itself doesn't move, but the toes get a lot of nice movement. And of course, this whole thing, the foot can twist. But you can get some good movement in the front part of the foot itself, which makes it nice. There is limited accessories that come with it. There's a very basic backpack. There are two handheld weapons, the typical mace and the katana, which can be held in the, you only get one set of hands. That you would have to interchange for both of them. And then it does come with a right arm that's the same as the left arm. The only difference being is it doesn't have the shield parts to it. So if you wanted to do, probably typical, if you were holding on to the mace itself, you might want to use the non-shield arm to hold on to the mace piece with both arms. The reason why there's limited, there's no gun or anything like that comes with it. The reason why is that with the Iron-Blooded Orphans line, they actually sell separate arms kits, which have multiple weapons in them, and also they tend to have one of the mobile workers, the various types of mobile workers that are seen in the Iron-Blooded Orphans anime, which I gotta say, there's a lot of different mobile armors in the anime. If you haven't seen it, it's probably more mobile armors not mobile armors, mobile workers. Probably more mobile workers in Iron-Blooded Orphans than all the other anime combined, because they're just all over the place, and every little group has their own design to them and stuff like that. But overall, I've got to say I'm really happy with this kit. It's very easy to put together. You don't have to do the painting like I did, so if you just wanted to use the color correcting stickers, I would highly recommend this as a beginner's kit. It's not super complex or anything like that. It's really easy to put together. The piece, it all makes sense. So it's not like you have to have, years of experience. There's a few more pieces than you might find in some of the earlier HD kits, but it is nice and easy to put together, and you get a really nice looking piece out of it. So, I think overall I would give this a B+, just because, one, I do really like the aesthetic, and I like the way that it moves, but just the fact that you don't get so many accessories because there's other accessory packs that they want to sell you, and the fact that you've got, certain pieces that come apart pretty easily when you're moving it. This wouldn't be something where you decide to put together and use it as a toy. This is something where you put it together, you find a pose that you like, and you keep it on a shelf, and then every once in a while, you might take it down and put a different pose, and then put it back on your shelf. So, thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Hey, I'm back, because I forgot something. Also with the kit are these two little kind of extender arms that, pieces that come with it. In order to put these on, you just take these parts off the backpack, you stick those in either the top or bottom hole. And the reason for these is in order to allow the piece to use the weapons that are included in those separate arms sets that I was talking about. And you don't have to just use the weapons that were shown the Barbatos in the anime using. You can basically use any weapon at any time with any of the mobile kits from those separate sets. But I realized I forgot to mention those, so I just wanted to jump back on and let you know. So thanks for listening to me for a second time, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up. That really does help out the channel. And if you would like to see more like this, please go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell. If you do have some time, I would really appreciate it if you could watch one of the videos that are popping up around my head.